Good morning, everyone. Again, this is Jason Hansford with the National Weather Service in Shreveport. We'll go ahead and begin this webinar here. I'll go ahead and mute everyone's lines for now, and then I'll take questions at the very end of the presentation. Okay, to start off the presentation here this morning, what we're going to do is kind of recap temperature and precipitation here from last year. And what I did here, this is just a 30-year average temperature and precip anomalies there for the lower 48 states. And what I've taken into account here are neutral ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation conditions that were present all of last year. I showed these slides with the last presentation last fall. And what I'm going to do is I'm showing them again here and comparing them how climatology did with what actually occurred across our region here. So on average, when we've had neutral conditions throughout the year, all these years listed above are the years in which we've had neutral conditions, all from January through December. And for the most part, average temperatures were at or maybe slightly below normal across all of our region. To the right, the precipitation anomalies showing a little bit of a dry bias over much of Louisiana here in southern Arkansas. So if we fast forward to the next slide here, these are just, this is what actually occurred last year over our region. Temperatures were generally near to slightly below normal, which again matched up with climatology during neutral ENSO conditions. Looking to the right, percent of normal precipitation, you saw most of the region here was at or slightly below normal on rainfall for much of last year. Specifically, here it verified, climatology verified fairly well across southern Arkansas and really most of northern Louisiana. There were some areas out there in the parts of Bienville, Lincoln, Jackson, and Claiborne parishes that were more closer to slightly above normal rainfall, but that seems to be very localized there. So for the most part, climatology worked out pretty well given the neutral ENSO conditions last year. Now, if we break down the seasons, fall and winter of last year here, from the fall, which is depicted from September 1st to November 30th, what I'm going to concentrate on is the graphic on the right-hand side of the screen. And as you can see here, much above normal precipitation or rainfall fell across really all of the four-state region. This was concentrated really through the final 10 to 14 days of September, all of October, and all of November. And as you can see here, most of East Texas and northern Louisiana observed departures of anywhere from, say, 5 to 7 inches above normal. A little lesser amounts further to the north or so, but still those areas still saw a good 1 to 3 inches above normal for rainfall during the fall of last year. Temperature-wise, again through the same time period last fall, on the right-hand side, departures from the mean, temperatures were generally near normal for all of last fall across much of the region. Now for the winter time, again, concentrating on the right-hand side of the screen, the temperatures were generally below normal. Again, winter is defined from December the 1st through the end of February, February 28th. And so, for the most part, winter departures, temperature departures were on average, say, 1 to 3 degrees below normal. Yes, we did have a cold winter. And we did not quite set some records in the temperature department for the winter, though, but some areas did fall within the top 10 coldest winters on record. Precipitation-wise, there was a very stark contrast in precipitation this past winter compared to the fall months. As you can see here on the right-hand side, again, areas of deep East Texas and across much of northern Louisiana observed rainfall departures anywhere from 4 to 7 plus inches during that 3-month time frame. Again, areas to the further north did see below normal precipitation, but for the most part, departures were only about 2 to 3 inches or so below normal. So areas of deep East Texas and northern Louisiana have really begun to dry out through much of the wintertime. kind of breaking it down, just for the month of December here, observed rainfall was quite plentiful there along and generally north of Interstate 20, over East Texas and northern Louisiana, especially southern Arkansas. But again, precipitation deficits really started to mount here across portions of deep East Texas and north central Louisiana. There we did see some rainfall deficits of 2 to 4 inches across those areas. Again, near to maybe slightly above normal rainfall further north of the I-20 corridor during the month of December. Now, looking across the remainder of the wintertime months, basically from January 1st through yesterday, I captured this image through yesterday, again, we had begun to see really a lot of rainfall deficits here further north that saw the near to slightly above normal rainfall during the month of January there. Again, percentage of normal rainfall across those areas generally ran right at about 50 to just under 50% of normal rainfall. So areas further north that got the rainfall in December only saw nearly half or just less than half of their normal precipitation during the months of January and February. Pick out a city here near you, and you can actually see how we ranked temperature-wise during the fall and wintertime months. Again, fairly within a degree or so of normal either side during the fall time months. Nothing significant there. Tyler did end up a little above normal on temperatures there at 1.3 degrees. But again, the wintertime months, we were quite cold. Everyone reported 1 to 3 plus inches, or 1 to 3 degrees below normal in the temperature department during the wintertime, with actually a couple of records being set here for Monroe, being ranked here as the 8th coldest winter on record, with records going back to 1930, and even Idabel, Oklahoma, taking observations from the cooperative region up there. Again, 4.5 degrees below normal there in Idabel, which ranked as the 5th coldest winter on records going back to 1908. Looking at the seasonal precipitation statistics here again for the fall and wintertime months, again, rainfall was pretty plentiful area-wide, with Shreveport reporting the 5th wettest fall on records, going back to 1871. Texarkana reporting just under 20 inches of rain, which they ranked as the 4th wettest fall on records going back to 1892. Again, very, very wet fall, but again, the rainfall machine did shut off during the wintertime months, especially January and February, like I said, and where the precipitation deficits really began to mount. And stark contrast again, Monroe setting their 6th driest winter on record, between Arkansas reporting the 2nd driest winter on record, and Lufkin, Texas reporting their 5th driest winter on record. Only took records generally within the top 10 driest winters on record here, but most everyone probably fell within the top 20 to 30. Shreveport ranked as the 24th driest winter on record, for those kind of keeping tabs there. So soil moisture, generally soil moisture, this is just taken from the weather prediction center, or climate prediction center's website here. Soil moisture is across much of our region is 17.5 to just under 20 inches deep, which isn't really that bad though, but ranking it in terms of percentiles here, we are seeing deficits across much of the region, even for this time of year, with much of southern Arkansas and much of Louisiana falling within the 20th percentile of soil moisture rankings here. So again, we're not off to a very good start at all, especially as we enter the warmer months here in the spring and especially the summer. So we certainly have quite a bit of work to catch up on. As a result, the latest edition of the U.S. Drought Monitor has overspread D0 abnormally dry conditions over much of the region here as of the latest issuance issued yesterday. Now keep in mind the data here goes through 7 a.m. Every Tuesday morning, so it would have been taken into account this past Tuesday morning. So We did have widespread 1.5 inch rainfall totals across much of the region last weekend, which really helped. We did see some hydrologic response area wide. Some areas here in deep East Texas and West Central Louisiana picked up a good 1.5 to 2+ inches of rain. Those areas desperately needed it as well. And so a lot of those D1 conditions that we see here across portions of Angelina, Nacogdoches, and Cherokee counties, originally that was scaled further east towards the Toledo Bend Reservoir. But because of those plentiful totals, we did see quite a bit of hydrologic response as a result too. D1 conditions were scaled back over those areas. So you're kind of asking, well, if we're seeing some pretty good soil moisture deficits in Louisiana, why are we not in D1? And that can be attributed to the stream flow conditions. Again, most of the vegetation during the wintertime months will be dormant, so they're not flowing in as much water into the ground here. So most everything that falls during the wintertime months, if it's not absorbed, will quickly run off. And we did see quite a response to the stream flow conditions with the last rainfall here. We did have several gauge sites here. They were actually reporting anywhere between the 10th and 24th percentile, but in response to this last rain, they quickly responded and are back to near normal stream flow for this time of year. Areas in East Texas are still faring pretty well as too. So far we're looking okay, but again, it's not going to take long before these soil moisture deficits will pretty quickly add up as they're beginning to green up now. The trees, the vegetation will start drawing a lot more water. The temperatures will start heating up, and evaporation will start to increase as well, and more quickly dump that soil moisture we have on the ground. Hydrologic drought is more of a long-term type drought, and we're still seeing some effects across portions of the region here as of this morning. And these were pool stages taken as of yesterday morning. Bob Sandlin, here just northwest of Pittsburgh, still about 3 feet down from normal pool. Still seeing some 4-foot plus deficits there at Lake Fork here in northwest Wood County. Toledo Bend did respond about a good half foot or so with that 1 to 2 inch rainfall, so they're right at about 2 feet below normal pool. Sam Rayburn did respond as well, but they're still 3 feet down. So still have a little work to do to get those reservoirs up. And if we're going to do that, at least in the short term, we need to do that here in the next couple of months, because otherwise we're going to start losing ground because of higher evaporation rates and lesser rainfall amounts as we enter the summertime. And just kind of doing a comparison here, all of these reservoirs, with the exception of Sam Rayburn, are near or slightly higher than this time yet last year. So overall, we're doing pretty good. Sam Rayburn is about a foot lower than this time last year.